it gives us a huge margin for error. That's when you actually should double down on trust. Hey folks, I want to talk about a sensitive subject today, and that is the topic of moonlighting and remote work. And I'll be the first one to admit that we've experienced this for our own team. We've trusted people, given them jobs, only to find out later that they were working multiple jobs behind our backs. Now, I will say, even after all that, I think moonlighting is more of a function of remote work in general and not just outsourcing, because during the pandemic, I personally know people who are working like 2 jobs, sometimes 3, or doing something on the side. Is it the right thing to do? Is it ethical? Well, it's certainly very inconvenient for business owners. I don't want to talk about that today. I want to talk about, does it matter? Because when I look at the financial performance of my company for the last 3 years, we've just been growing month over month consistently, nonstop. In fact, if you looked at those numbers, you would think that we are a company that's operating perfectly, that we have no blips, no bugs. But that's of course not the case, and business owners know that. Business is not free to play. You have to pay to play. Many times in costly mistakes, many times in lessons, but you always bounce back stronger. There is in fact a way to minimize your chance of your employees moonlighting, which is to have a physical office, to have everybody come into work 8 to 5, shut doors, have cameras, make sure they're logged in, and then, count their output. The problem with that, of course, is you are paying for that enforcement, and it is quite costly. And then the other costs, which don't get talked about enough, which is you are confined to a local talent pool. And not only that, you are confined to employees who are okay with that. We can probably all agree that the best of the best talent out there, have their choice in what kind of opportunity they want. And after the pandemic, it seems like everybody values remote work. So that's it. There's no free lunch in business. You have to pick and choose. Going back to doesn't matter, I want to say that, when this has happened to us, it always surprises me how catastrophic I feel the situation is in the moment. But within just like a matter of days, I'm talking days, we would bounce back. Other people in the team would step up. New bonds are formed. People pick up the slack. And then within just like a very short amount of time, we're back to business as usual. And so as a business owner, I've learned not to freak out about these type of situations, not to give these tail risk events more than what it requires, because bad things are going to happen in business. That's just part of the game. It's why we have a business. But fundamentally, what I've realized is the goodwill that we have built with our staff and with our customers, and the competitive advantages, namely the cost advantages that we built in our business, it gives us a huge margin for error. And what are you going to do instead? Not hire people remotely? Because I trust my team to handle things, it gives me an opportunity to make videos like this, or to go chase after sales or do marketing. It allows me time to do high value tasks. I can't just have it both ways, where I'm sort of making sure everything is perfect, but also having time for myself. Obviously, it just doesn't work that way. I have business mentors and colleagues, fellow entrepreneurs. They say, Victor, this outsourcing business is great, but how do you get around this trust thing? I mean, you gotta get everybody on a time tracker. That's gotta be the way to go, because they're gonna be self-serving, people are gonna be looking for their own jobs. But I'm gonna die on this hill and I'm never gonna get a time tracker, because I know there are VA agencies who use time trackers, but the best VAs don't wanna work for those companies. There are even VA companies I've learned that require the VA have their camera on the whole shift so that they can see that they're at their desk. Because people have found ways to game these time trackers, right? Like maybe you put a rock on your keyboard and it keeps typing to show that you're green. But to me, these are all just stupid games. Because I rather still try to find the right person for our business and for our clients. It doesn't mean we're always gonna get it right, but with every mistake that we make, we do get better. We learn how to screen better, and we can start to see the pattern in these early warning signs. Don't give up on the idea of remote work. Don't give up on the idea of trust. In fact, whenever you realize you hired the wrong person, just think that it's part of the game. And you're here for the long haul. You're here to improve. And that's when you actually should double down on trust, on the people around you, on the people who have supported you. So I hope that helps. I hope that's a new perspective. Remote work is here to stay. Everybody wants it. And so if you're an employer, you got to deal with it. And any business who can get comfortable with both the features and bugs of this new reality, they're going to be the ones to succeed.